Hey everyone, today I kind of want to talk about why veteran players in Vanguard are picking V Premium and Premium over Standard for BCS, right? Like, sure, Premium, right? All the oldies love Premium, but V Premium? I thought everyone hated that format. That format is like, you know, the dead format if you look at Springfest, right? So I'm kind of going to go into that. Now, I kind of answered this question a bit on Twitter because I was responding to another, you know, tweet. I will link the Twitter below, the post that I did. So you might know some of the answer already, but I actually was thinking of talking about this topic before responding on Twitter. So I'm making this video anyway, right? At least talking about it is better than in text form sometimes. So one thing people have to realize is that, you know, Springfest, it's like kind of a low stakes tournament. The only thing you're winning is a prize card, and if you don't win it, too bad, right? Or you can just go and buy it from the winners or whatever, right? But I think that the thing that a lot of people prioritize for Springfest is having fun. And sure, you know, playing card games is all about having fun, but sometimes, you know, fun is relative, right? You can have fun in Springfest, but in BCS, you're having fun winning trips to Japan, because, you know, guess what? Going to Japan is fun too, and meeting all your friends in Japan is fun too. So there is something way more to fight for in BCS compared to Springfest. And because of that, right, you will definitely be playing the format that will be giving you more of a chance to win that prize than the others. So when given that choice, right, on day 1 or day 2, whenever Standard is held, Standard is usually with another premium format, a V Premium format or a Premium format. It will never be with Y Schwartz, because, you know, they always want to separate those two. You will be forced to pick one of them. You'll be forced to pick one of the formats of Premium, and, you know, a lot of people when given that option are picking non-standard one, and simply because just the easiest reason, because it is easier to top. Now, I'm not saying that everyone sucks in Premium, right? The contrary, I think a lot of the veteran players in the game, I don't want to just say like better players, right? But there's a lot of veteran players with multiple tops that do very, very well in every single format, right? They don't just do well in Premium. They also like do well in Standard as well. They're also playing these Premium formats. So it's not like it's a free trip to just Japan, right? It's not a free road to top 3. You're playing against people who've been playing the game for a very long time, generally have a higher base level of skill, because not really new players will be jumping into V Premium, right? You're not going to face a total newbie. You're not going to face a total newbie when playing Premium. You're probably playing against someone who already has a decent level of skill and already know what the format is about, right? That's why they're playing it, and they're devoting their time into playing that format. And that is pretty much the key thing. People are putting more time into the Premium formats, not just like V Premium or Premium. They're devoting more time into the Premium formats because they feel like they can get more return for that effort put in, and thus have a high chance of getting the prize. Now, that's not saying that Standard is just so like low skill, blah blah blah, right? I think this kind of fluctuates depending on the timing, what the format is, and right now Standard is just not really in a very, very good place, right? It's probably one of the worst formats, I have to say, in existence at the moment, simply because what do we have now? You're either playing Wallista or you're playing Gandiva. And likely you're playing Wallista. Like, all the good players who would be playing this format, except now they're moving on to, like, V Premium and Premium, they're saying they would play Wallista, and I kind of agree, because it's just clearly one of just the better decks out there, right? And honestly, when you compare that with the previous formats, especially, like, the previous format, like Springfest format, for example, or even the last Worlds format, it was kind of flipped with V Premium. V Premium just had bad formats, right? Really, really bad formats for a very, very long time because of Steam Maidens, right? And now it finally has kind of an okay format, while technically, you know, people say it's very stale, but it gets the job done, right? You know, if you look at the results, a lot of people are playing whatever they want to play, and they're still doing pretty well at it, right? And that's kind of what I want to just say. All right, the more time you put in V Premium, and especially Premium, the more returns you will get from it. Now, what's making, you know, Standard not attractive to these players as well? Well, first things first is, like I've said before, you want to be rewarded for making correct plays. And right now, the variance in Standard is very, very high. right, everything is revolving around the trigger. If you trigger early, you basically get a free turn. Well, your opponent basically loses a turn. The person who gets critted loses a turn, loses half a turn. You might not really understand that terminology. Basically, the game gets faster and faster, right? You're forced to make plays like sooner than you would want to, otherwise you just lose the game, for example. Or you're just banking on a lot of, you know, defensive triggers or just heals popping off and things like that. You're basically depending on luck a lot, right? And if your opponent gets like an OT, then like it's kind of GG, right? And sure, you know, people will always say, oh, I can play around the OT, or my opponent got an OT once and I still won. It happens. It's variance. But that's the key thing. It is the variance, right? And as like as playing TCGs, you know that variance is a thing, right? It's something you have to accept when you play TCGs. But when you are, you know, playing it for a very long time with things on the line, the whole point of trying to figure out how to win is to manage that risk, that luck factor as much as you can. And unfortunately, you know, Standard at the moment just really doesn't have that. I think a lot of it just comes down to the defensive options that we have. It's basically not much. Everything that revolves around defense, again, is that trigger, right? If you don't trigger, if you don't draw triggers, you can't defend. If you trigger, you basically get the trigger and defense option. And I think we've talked about that. Like a bunch of people have talked about it. It's just kind of the thing in Standard. And just the extra variance there definitely does not, you know, cater or just is not attractive to a lot of these veteran players. And they'd rather just play V Premium, which has a slightly, I think it has a slightly less variance simply because you have more defensive value, right? And then Premium, where sure there is luck, but it's very manageable. There's a lot. The more time you spend learning every single matchup and fine tuning your deck, Premium will reward you with that, right? Now, what could change, right? Well, I think set 13 really isn't changing that much. If you want to see Japanese results, they're not always, I don't want to say they're always the best, right? Because it's heavily influenced by diversity cut and all that. But, you know, going down the line, that's the scary thing for Standard right now, right? Going to Worlds format, we are entering that set 13 format that everyone has been talking about. And we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it goes. But in terms of how to make the format, you know, better, I have to say, just being able to make it so your decisions matter more. And it's just more rewarding making the correct plays, right? It doesn't have to be super hard, but you know, even deck building, for example, for Standard, I think is very, very I said not the best, right? It's pretty straightforward. There's a few flex. Every time you build a deck in Standard, there's a couple of flex slots you can put in, and that's pretty much it. When you compare it to like the other formats, for example, there's a lot more nuances you can do with deck building. And you know, that's kind of the thing with Standard, but again, there should be more ways to make depth while still keeping the game simple. That is the great balancing factor. Now, I don't really want this to break into the casual versus competitive war that it always happens, or my format is better than yours kind of thing, because this never really benefits everyone. It should be both sides are equally important. You need the competitive players to have longevity into the game, while you need the casual players to actually also have a game as well, because they're the ones that would spend the most money. But also, it's not a format war, right? There shouldn't be a format war. In the perfect world, right, Standard should be as attractive to play as V Premium and Premium when you want to qualify for Worlds, for example. You shouldn't have to be like, I have to choose V Premium, because if I play Standard, I might just like, I have a high chance of losing, right? It shouldn't be like that. In the perfect world, all of them should be similar in terms of, you know, rewarding gameplay, right? So you can just select your favorite format and play it. Because guess what happens, right? For me, let's say me, right? I play every single format, and Standard is on the same day as V, right? If Standard is not attracted to play, I at least have the option to go play V Premium, right? But for other people who don't have the option to play V Premium and they have to play in Standard, and imagine Standard is just not in a great place at the moment, guess what they're doing? They're just going and playing a different game. They're going, wow, you know what, other TCGs out there, and there's a lot of them, just play better right now. I'm just going to devote more time into playing One Piece or Digimon or Magic the Gathering or Yu-Gi-Oh! or Pokemon, and you just lost a player, right? You just lost someone that you want to keep, right? Especially, you know, like other games have best of 3 in Top Cut. They should really just do that. They should just add at least best of 3 in Top Cut. Why haven't we done that yet, right? So for the veteran players, they have a choice in what format they want to play. But for, you know, standard only players, they will just go play something else if they just feel like the game isn't there, right? I know several people have kind of just in the end they just swapped off to playing, you know, Shadowverse. Why should we just or stop playing? That's just how it is. That's just how it is. And we don't want to lose players, right? We want to keep players. The more players we have, even playing standard, everyone wins. Everyone wins. Again, I don't want to say it's like, you know, this format is better, so, you know, everyone loses. No, it shouldn't be like that. Every format needs to be good so that everyone wins, right? So that is just kind of me, like right now, quickly talking about this, talking about why, you know, all the veteran players are playing other formats. Also because, you know, yeah, it's V is actually not in that bad of a spot right now, right? People say it's stale, but they haven't played V in like half a year, so everyone's back, right? But also, yeah, Premium is also in a pretty good place, in my opinion. New format, lots of things being discovered. Sure, there is Melista, but hey, there's still other things that, there's still other decks out there that are still doing very well despite, you know, the Ghidorahs and the Melistas. So I don't want to see standard improve, right? I don't want to see standard improve. Right now, you know, the Willistic Gandiva format, not a big fan. Next format, Bastion Accord, still not a big fan as well, because it's still boosting the same problem of very aggressive gameplay, with just very, very fast, you know, very fast. Just the game is too fast. With zero kind of counterplay in a way, right? Except getting a defensive OT, something like that. So that's kind of just me thinking about that, just me ranting. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'll see you guys next video. All right, bye.